call the meeting to order. Okay, minutes of the last meeting.
Motion to accept.
Motion, I have a second.
Second.
In favor? You have to raise your hand so I can see you guys. Okay, unanimous. You want to go over the trail clearing, Tim?
Yeah. So Mike Labossiere, he used to head up the trustees for reservations years ago when the regional park was created. And at that time, he had cleared out the trails in the back for us to make a walking trail. He since, I believe, has left there. He works for another company now, I believe, or another organization. I'm not sure. But he contacted us. I mean, that trail that he originally created has kind of got a bit overgrown, basically due to the fact that with some fallen trees and things, because quite frankly, we haven't had the time to maintain it. And he's offering to volunteer to clear it out again for us to make it usable. I felt that was a good idea. I just wanted to get your blessing on that. I'll tell him that's okay. It's an existing trail. It just needs to be cleaned up. It was a trail that we had originally had there back in the 90s when the park was originally developed.
Anybody have any problem with that? We don't need a motion or anything, right?
No, not as long as no one has any objection.
No, I think you can move forward with it.
Sherry's getting on now.
Okay, we'll give it a second.
Sherry, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can't see you.
I think she's getting there.
I'm here. I don't know if you can,
I
can't.
can hear
Oh,
you.
we can see you
There you
now.
are. Now we can see you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, concert series, Tim?
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch base. I don't know if this isn't anything to really vote or take any action on today, but I just want to get a feel. I mean, the way I've been handling the concert series is that we're kind of going forward, just canceling one at a time until we reach the point where we all think we can have concerts, if that happens. As long as everybody's still okay with that approach, I'll continue it as we get into early June.
You can talk to me.
The second,
Just say you can talk to Michelle.
Yes, you can talk to Michelle.
the second,
Sorry.
the second, the second issue part of that is, you know, at some point we got to start thinking about our concert sponsors that paid for a season of concerts and advertising that they're most likely not going to get. We might get a partial season in if luck is on our side. But going forward next month, we're going to have to kind of think of what we can tell those folks, that whether we're going to just carry their sponsorship over to next year or how you want to do it. Just kind of things. I've just been jotting these things down as they've kind of come to mind because I know we're going to have to address them at some point.
I think we should give them an option.
When is the first concert? What's the date?
First concert date? I want to say it's like the 10th.
June 10th?
I think so. Yes.
I mean, I get it. I think it's kind of important that we, if we can at all, by all means, to keep the concert. I mean, I saw that thing in New York City, they had those circles, so I think it's a little overkill. I think it's something we could use down at Pontiac. If we have family units that come together, there's no reason why they can't sit together. We keep everybody spaced on the field, and then just maybe even limit the amount of people. But I think it's kind of important if we can. I mean, people have been cooped up for 50, 60 days, if not longer by this time. And I know there are no concerts anywhere else. Dartmouth has been pretty good as far as, even the region has been pretty good as far as any of the sickness. I don't know, that's just my thought. If we can get it going, if we can get it out there, even limited, if we count people at the gate, or if we can have, for the season pass holders to get them out there, maybe we should really think about that.
Right. I think it's something we have to talk with the Board of Health about, talk to Chris, see if that would be allowed at all.
I could talk to
It's under the
Chris.
state. I think it's allowed, right? Outdoor. Tim, when is that in? I thought I read that in the governor's. mandate.
Oh.
There were
Yeah,
things
but
outside
You're right.
venues. I thought,
yeah, it's the governor's description of the outdoor stuff is very,
Very
it's
vague.
all over the place,
Very
really.
vague.
Yeah, it's vague and it's in like all three different phases. So,
And it's not going to be complete unless the numbers too. I
Correct.
just don't see concerts happening right now.
I don't, I mean, it's an outdoor venue. I think we do the social distancing. There's no difference from a concert to going into Lowe's or Home Depot or any of these other places, Stop and Shop. People are on top of each other. I think if people are sitting there, and most people sit in groups anyways, and if we can limit, you know, I thought I read you can have a group of no more than 10 in a certain area, because I think it was the parks and beach.
that's how the beaches are set up.
Correct.
And the parks, correct.
Well,
So
there's
if that's a
not,
park, if that's a park and a beach, and we have outside activity, and they're within no groups more than 10, and they're social distance, I don't understand why that would be a problem. I mean, that's something to
Joan?
discuss.
Okay, hold on, Joe. Joan?
it could follow the same guideline as we do for the beach, because it is technically the beach, and, you know, it's technically the beach, but you're just gonna have music at the beach. If we can figure out how we're gonna do it for the beach, we could probably figure out how we can extend it for the concert.
I think Tim is right. I mean, we have to wait and see what the governor's restrictions are, if we can do it, and talk to the Board of Health to make sure we're in compliance, rather than just going out there and doing it, because everything's being, every concert that I know of, events have been canceled. But, you know, hopefully you guys are right and we can get it done, but I don't know. I think we have to check.
I'm
on it
not,
so
well,
we can move forward.
we might be able to get it done. I just don't know if we'll be able to make a June 10th with it. I'm not sure.
Right.
I just don't want to wipe out if we do it weekly, I just don't want to wipe out the whole season, because I think it's a little bit overkill. I think we can get it outside. I think we can, if people can go to the beach, they can go to the park, they can go to a concert. Our only concern would be the band itself. We'd have to distance them unless they're all family on that stage or in front of the stage. That would be the only heartache that we'd have. But I think it's important to get that concert back down there, allow people to get back to normal, and I don't think it's a big risk. Again, I read the governor's thing, and I think we're within the four corners of his mandate.
Right. Again, it's not, I don't think it's our call. We can try for it and see what they say. You know, we can tell them our opinion, but it's ultimately not going to be our decision. If they say no, the governor says no, or the Board of Health says no. All right.
I can have that talk with Chris.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Let us know.
Right. So the rest of the meeting, I've got several issues that decisions have to be made on regard to reopening plan for beaches and parks going forward. And basically there's several different decisions. I sent you out a bunch of information today regarding a draft of guidelines that I think, you know, we can build upon however you want to do it, regarding what we would hand out to the folks that purchase beach stickers, and how we would handle that. We've already, some of the decisions, and I can just, for the guests that are on here, I can kind of just go over that quickly. The first thing is the beach hours would remain the same as in the past. Lifeguards, which you decided at the last meeting, would be staffed from 9 to 5, with the beach remaining open until 8 a.m. at Round Hill, 8 p.m., sorry. The face covering section is simply a paragraph right from the guidelines as set forth by the state regarding wearing face coverings when unable to social distance. The group size, no larger than 10 are allowed to gather together. Blanket and chair locations should be a minimum of 12 feet apart. Lifeguards, in the lifeguard section, I put a minimum clear distance of 6 feet shall be maintained between the public and all lifeguard stands, except in the case of an emergency, which is right from the directive. The parking lot, and that's something, that number, I put in there basically that parking spaces would be reduced by 50% to limit beach capacity and to maintain social distancing. And that's a placeholder. The restrooms, again, while waiting for restrooms, maintain 6-foot social distancing, standing next to cones, which we would place out at 6-foot intervals for required spacing, and limit people in the restroom at one time. So that's what I have. That's what I sent you in the draft. The only, one of the things you may want to consider, I'm not sure if you're happy with the parking lot 50% or not, or if you want to just put reduced parking or not actually, that number could change throughout the summer. I mean, as things get better, you might be able to loosen that restriction as we get into July and August, depending how the governor feels. So I don't know if you hard number there or you want me to. It's totally up to you guys to discuss and decide how you want to do it. I did talk to Chris Michaud. He feels that that's a much better way. Limiting the parking is a much better way than trying to count individual people entering. So he's was very much in favor of the car reduction to control the crowd at Round Hill, for example. So
Right.
that's the big one. You guys really need to kind of get through that today.
All right, why don't we pause and kick that around first?
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of agree. I think 50%, which is Chris's recommendation also. We can see how that goes. That's 200 cars, correct?
Yeah.
200 cars, yeah.
Jim, isn't there another dynamic? How many people per square foot of the beach? Wasn't there another one that was kicking around out there?
It was originally, he got rid of that in the, that was in the draft we had seen. That wasn't in the guideline though, I don't believe. That was in the draft we had seen early on. He dumped that.
Yeah, because if you figure every car that comes down, let's do the multiple of four people. So you're gonna have 800 people down there on that beach. I mean, that beach totals well over that. Even, and that's spread apart. I mean, I hate to put a number on it. I think we have to, if we can look at how many, square feet, or how many, what the acreage is there, and use the governor's original proposal. That'll work for us.
Did that, yeah. I did that. I did that early on. I went down. I measured everything at mid to high tide, and it comes out to about 400 place. I don't know. I call them place settings, but I guess you call them
Place settings.
beach settings.
Yeah.
But I didn't. That's spaced out every 12 feet, but it doesn't account for the actual space the person or the group would be taking.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's a little bit high. That's kind of how I got to that. And
That's why I think that 200 cars to start off with, and we can see how that works out. How much, if we have a lot more space, maybe we can allow more people in. But I agree with Joe. I mean, you don't know how many people are going to come in a car. You could have 6 people in a car.
Or you could have one.
And usually if there's more, they're going to use more than one blanket. I mean, if there's like 4 people in a car, they're not all going to sit on one blanket. They're going to have a couple of blankets. So it's going to take up more space.
Right. Jimmy, would it be, if we set it at 200 to start off with and revisit it, I mean, and call it on the fly if we go down there, when a weekend, I mean, it's soon. They're going to be out there. I've been watching the crowds. People are getting a little bit restless.
Right.
We get them down there and we notice that there's more room available to them, then we can increase it. I think the 200 car is for the space between vehicles. I'm not too hung up on that because not everybody gets out of their car at the same time. So I think they'd still be social distancing, even getting out of the car. I've been watching that at the BJ's and the other lots. So there are a lot of people. If somebody pulls in beside them, somebody waits to get out and get some distance before they come jumping out of the car. So people are doing that already.
So what are you saying? Are you saying you want to count people and not cars?
No, I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you, Jimmy. I'll say we would start off with the 200 cars,
Oh,
but if we go down there and see that there's more space for people on the beach, there's no sense having that restriction for the beach.
Yeah, I don't think you should put anything specific on that. I think it should be vague, so that way you pretty much will be able to go up or down as you see fit.
it's up to you. I mean, yeah, you're right. 50% lock, but the issue, if we put there's 2 sides to every coin. If I put the 50% in there and we decide that we can fit more vehicles in there, I'm not sure, and more people, I'm not sure if you'll get complaints from folks that are, really want social distancing if we're operating outside our own guidelines. That's the only, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Joan.
I have a question. I don't know if this is even feasible, but I don't know if our system allows it. Is there a way that you could put, let's say, people people could go for 3 hours or something, and so more people could use it? Like, is there a way, like, if when you scan their sticker, they go in, that they get a 3-hour limit or whatever, so more people could use the beach? I don't know if that. It can,
The
we have
system
that.
Yeah, the system doesn't do that.
Okay.
And then when 3 hours are up, either we're gonna have to give them a ticket from the police officer or try to find them on the beach where they are, which I think is gonna be a little
Well,
difficult.
I hope that people would just like be considerate.
I think,
The
I
only
think
problem,
Tim,
Yeah.
excuse me,
I
Bob, the
also
only-
label this phase one guide at the top of this paper. If you notice, I put phase one.
yeah,
So-
that's what I was just gonna say.
You could come back and do phase two,
And
where you
change
reduce
it.
that number if you find that you can too. So,
I think
I
if we
mean, we
look at it at the beginning, Jimmy, and just leave the 200 cars there, and then, you know, if we go for a week or two and we take a look at it and say, okay, now we've noticed that there is more room on the beach, people aren't doing their thing, and we can phase them in, we can actually have them, we can actually increase it. I think we can do that. If we make a motion, that we can increase it with maybe an email or, you know, a straw poll from the board members, whatever's legitimate, we could do that, and I think we can go from there.
I agree.
Wi-Fi just lost it.
If you want for that part of it, I mean, I like the whole thing. I wouldn't nail ourselves down as far as the beach. I think that we allow it to be determined. We'll follow for phase one guidelines will be 200 vehicles for the time being, with the understanding that if we see and we choose to increase it because we have the need and the demand and it's not going to harm anybody and things are getting better, then I think we should be able to revisit this.
Right, I think we just put on our guidelines, we're going to go, 50% at this point. People really don't know what 50% is. Unless we want to specify 200 cars.
Well, I think if we come up with a number, that way it gives control if something happens, because we're gonna have the other people, if things do go sideways and there's really not a lot of room, then if we kind of just leave it a little bit vague, we're gonna be arguing with people at the top of the gate. The kids will be arguing with people, they're gonna say they saw it on Zoom, that it was a flexible number. So I think for phase one, if we leave it at 200, and then when we decide to change it, we'll make notification and we'll allow more cars if it meets the criteria. And everybody agrees.
My question was, are we going to post that on the letter that we hand out?
Yeah, this whole, well, right now, that thing I gave you, I'm thinking that is the letter, that is what you hand out. That whole
Say what?
document.
So my question, are you going to put on there 200 cars?
No, well, the thing is, I mean, is this carrying to all of our beaches? If so, it's not necessarily a number, it's a percentage.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to put 50%?
I think you have to put 50% because you don't really know what that 200 cars is going to entail. I mean, you can use it as a guideline, but you don't really know what that's going to look like.
Correct. All right, what's the next, Tim? Go ahead.
That's the issue that I was just fighting with on this. So, I mean, if you guys look through the rest and if you have any suggestions, changes, Cherry had mentioned something about there was some restriction that we didn't have on there about playing games that the governor had on there.
Well, the organized ball games, I would think could be an issue with the youth, like with the college kids and the high school, like playing the spike ball and stuff, because
That's already, you can't do that on the beach anyways. I think that's in our regular rules and regulations.
It might
okay.
be, but
I would just
we can
add it.
We can add
I would add it.
Yeah, we can add that. That's like a one sentence that he had in there about those organized games on the beach. I can add that to this. But you're right. I think it's part of our regulations.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have an issue with what the handout would be?
Everybody else set on that? Do we need to vote
I
on
think
that?
maybe a sign at all the gates that we're only allowing 50% capacity, so people come in, just so they know if they do get turned away, the gate guard can point at the sign and say, we're at 50%.
What about, I think we had talked about it though in the last meeting, was just a sign just about what were masks are required and the
Yeah. So that's a whole different issue that I've kind of got a plan for. I think the Board of Health had some nice little signs. They go in the ground that say social distancing. If you cannot social distance, you must wear a mask. They're actually showing up at our parks right now. I think they're putting them out. And so I think if we stick those at the entrance paths, walking into the beach, people have to walk by them. They're not obtrusive. They stick right in the sand. Nobody will mess with them. And everybody will get that notification about the social distancing on the way to the beach. And you know, the one thing we have going for us is by the time we get to mid-June, people are going to be very much, they're getting used to the social distancing thing when it comes to like the bathrooms and inside buildings. I mean, people are used to, you go to Home Depot, you wait in line for a couple of minutes to get in the grocery stores. So you're kind of getting into that. So it's not going to be brand new to these people when they get there. So my plan for the bathrooms at Round Hill is we'll have cones spaced every 6 feet, or, you know, from the ladies' room out, the men's room and the thing, you know, we'll have little signs on them saying, please wait here. Similar to what you see at some of the other places. And I think that's probably the more easily controlled area because people understand, you know. So I think the signage thing we got kind of under control. I just wanted to make sure the handout, and you know, this will also be posted on where they're buying the sticker. They'll get this when they get the sticker. I just wanted to, if you guys are good with that draft, I'd like a vote on that document. Phase 1,
Right.
Park and Rec.
Motion.
Park and Rec.
So we got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Show of hands in favor. No one opposed, so voted. All right, Mr.
All right.
Lancaster.
Then the next item is the beach stickers themselves.
Jim,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Technically, you're supposed to do a roll call. We've had some complaints on that.
Okay, we'll go back to the roll call. Motion made and seconded. Jim Bosworth,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Sherry,
Aye.
Joan. Aye, and the chairman says aye, so unanimous. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, it wasn't my complaint. We had some.
No problem.
Um,
Greg, you're on top of everything. All right, go ahead, Tim.
So now the beach stickers themselves. This reopening thing is going to be ongoing here. Yeah, I got a block. So. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, beach. I didn't realize beach stickers is the next line item there. So let's just keep going. A couple other things. The dog park is allowed to reopen on the phase 1. So I figured I'll let D-Dog take the lead on that and let them open when they feel comfortable, as long as they meet the guidelines. That was on the phase 1.
Mhm.
We got a letter. We've got a couple of inquiries from groups trying to use the ball fields, and that's not allowed right now. I mean, that's in
Right.
phase 2 or phase 3, depending on how you look at that. So just to make you aware of it, we're going to notify those groups that it's just we're not there yet. When we are there, we'll certainly let them start using it. But right now, we're not there, according to those guidelines. The other thing that we need to talk about is, before we get to the beach stickers, the bucket. What's the thoughts on that? Most of the ice cream shops, there are a lot of ice cream shops opening up. I'm trying to get the floor done this week. The guy promised me he'll be there this week. He's been promising me that all spring. But I mean, if anybody have any thought on where we go? Arthur's inquiring quite a bit on that. I haven't really been able to tell him anything.
What does Arthur think?
Arthur wants to open. Are you kidding?
Okay. Well, I mean, can we break even if we don't have the concerts?
I don't know.
I don't want to open at a loss is the
I
thing.
know. And that's the concern. I mean, he thinks we probably can, but I'm not positive because there's a lot of things going on there. The bucket's a big influx of money. I mean, the concerts are a big influx of money for that bucket.
Sure.
And the other question is, you know, if we're limiting people access to that park, is that going to impact him at all? On the flip side, Dockside had a big line this weekend. You know, the places that are open are busy. I'm not sure what your thoughts are. What would you like me to relay to him?
I think as long as he thinks he can break even or make money, that we let him go, and just have to track him to make sure we're on schedule and we're not going to go into the red.
Or
Well,
do we wait until more closer to summer when things might get relaxed? I don't know.
I
I mean,
think
I can't open yet. Ready.
You can limit out, if you reduce hours, you'll also not pay as much out in cost of staff to run it, so they might be able to do something to break even at the very least.
I feel we should wait a little bit. We shouldn't open in the 31st. That's when he normally opens, right?
Yeah, that would be next Monday. There's no way we can open that quick.
Right, right.
I think I'm in favor of opening up in June, early June. I think I think that we got to try to make things as normal. And if we have less staff in there, I'm not objectional to that because I knew there's going to be less people going there. So it works out. But I think if we have it open, there are people who are down there. There are people that are walking. There are people who are outside. A lot of these folks aren't going to be back to work until phase 3, some of the things that I've seen. So I think if we put it out there, we get them down there, people will go down. I think they'll enjoy it. I agree. Dockside was busy. I've been out at Acushnet Creamery in Acushnet, places in New Bedford. I mean, it's busy. People are out there looking for it to do things with their family. And I think that we can work through this. So I agree.
Well, I guess, do you want to leave it? I mean, I still got to get this thing back together because, I mean, obviously everything got backed up with these contractors with doing this stuff. So, I mean, the first thing that we got to do is get the bucket back together before he can open. I'm hoping to get that done this week, next week. I got to do some trim work. Obviously, you know, we lost one of our main guys that was doing part of that project. So I'm going to try to have to finish that up myself. To get the windows back together and the trim work and get that. That's going to take a little bit of time. I mean, I think that's step number 1. And then at that point, I think we look at let them get things going, maybe, if that's what you want to do.
I agree with What's that?
It'll put us mid-June, which really, I mean, we know the first 2 weeks is kind of the breakdown, you know, of scratch that. It's kind of like the warm-up to the season. Right. So if we go mid-June, people, again, they're out there. I think it's a good idea.
I agree with Jim Bosworth, too.
All right, so once...
Tracking, hold on, Tim. I think we should, like Jim said, track it. Yep. If you know, we're not doing it, keep cutting back on the hours, and if it doesn't, you know, if it's not feasible, then we just have to cancel it for the rest of the season. But to go a whole season and lose money is not, you know, what we should be doing. So, you know, I'd give it a month and see what it looks like, how we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we start off slow, Jimmy. I think that's the thing. If it looks like it's dead, then listen, that'd be foolish to cut off our heads, you know, as far as that goes. But I think we got to give it a shot.
Yeah, I agree.
We may be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So I don't think we need a motion whether or not to open that up or not.
No, I think, I mean, once we get to, I mean, it's going to take me a couple of weeks to get that thing back together anyway. Right. I think by then things will start coming around maybe a little. We're lucky.
Okay. What's next, Tim?
I would say at this point, the rest of the stuff that we have here has to do with beach stickers.
You want beach sticker sales?
Yeah, which is why I think Greg, oh no, he's still here. Greg's here. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, it has to do with money. Greg's here. So, and Bob also. So, you know, a couple things that I need from you. When are we selling them? How much are we selling them for? And due to this situation, are we going to try to limit it to 1 per household? Are we going to still offer it to seasonal renters? Those are all things that we need to think about.
Any comments? Joe?
I think we do our residents first. As far as the renters, I think let's take a look at that. I'm not a big fan of that right now until we get things under control, maybe a little bit deeper into the season. But I really don't think there should be anybody traveling into Dartmouth from other states at this time. So I would do our residents first, period, and then move forward from there. As things loosen up, then we can do that. I mean, even Florida's not there. They got the rentals, but they're not accepting anybody from New York City. So I think we should take care of our own people first, and then we'll worry about the visitors later on.
What do you guys think about the price where we're only going to be able to have 200 cars, or be a lot of people buying beach stickers are going to be unable to get into the beach? Should we be thinking about reducing the price for this year because of that fact?
No. It's a tough call because we don't know what the progression of the opening up the phases is. It's a call, but I don't think that they're overpriced. But at the same time, I don't know. It's hard. It's going to be hard to decide, to make that determination. You keep the price the same, people will get upset. You lower the price, more people will buy it. But will and may try to get in. I don't think we can predict what's going to happen by the cost.
Right. I just didn't know if it would be an easier sell when you're telling people they can't come in, that they pay the reduced cost, because I know we're going to hear, I bought a sticker and I can't get in, and it's going to be a circus this year.
Yeah. I'd say leave the price the same this year.
Jim, any opinion on that?
Boss is muted.
I got to. Yeah, my thoughts the same as you. You're gonna have some unhappy people because at 200. I don't know. Tim can probably tell us how many times that parking lot filled up last year. So that's how many times we're gonna have to turn people away.
More than that.
The weekends, 4th of July weekend, most of the weekends, a lot pretty much reaches capacity, plus they got parking on the roadway on the way up usually. So you're gonna be turning a lot of people.
You're gonna be turning away a lot of people.
Right. I don't think I've been to that beach where I've only saw half the parking lot full.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always at least, I'm not saying every single spot is taken, but even on a regular, Monday afternoon, if it's a nice day, most of those parking places are taken. It's not half a parking lot. If we reduce it down to half a parking lot, there's a lot of people not being able to get in. I just don't know what the answer is.
Well, that's only
Jerry,
phase one, but
Yeah, I'm thinking that I think people would have to know ahead of time when they're purchasing the ticket, that this is the situation. I mean, there's a lot of things that are modified. There's a lot of things that you can't, it's just that's sort of the way it is right now. So I'm not sure. I feel like you're still going to have to pay your staff. You're still going to have to, fund the people that you're staffing. And then you're going to have, even the cleanliness, you're going to have to make sure that you're doing the deep cleaning per week. You're going to have to make sure that you're doing a daily, which you might already do. I don't know, Tim, what that process is, if you're going to have to increase your funds for that, but I don't know that you want to, I think people need to know you may not be able to get, that's what the situation is right now. But I don't know if I would go down in price. I'm not sure.
So everyone will know, we will have a sign at the point of sale that will explain to them about the reduction in parking and the reduction in lifeguard coverage. So they'll be aware of that. They're going to get the handout. So they'll be aware of the situation.
Prior to buying the pass.
The other part that you might want to consider too is that, again, this is phase one. Partway through the summer, we might be able, like as you guys talked about earlier, you might be able to loosen some of that restriction into phase 2 and phase 3. So you might not be locked into what we start with as we go forward.
Right.
I mean, I get it with the saying, and I agree with Sherry. I'm not a fan. I think we leave it at what it is. We explain to people what it is. Most people that go, we're only talking about Round Hill because those other beaches, they're never full. I think if we explain to them, people understand that, and with the hope, and you know how I feel about it, with the hope of opening things up completely, maybe, July, who knows what's going to happen. I think, as time goes on, we're going to open up. I have the faith in that. I don't think we're going to be restrictive. I think that this is going to blow past us a little bit more, especially outdoor activities. So I think with the additional staff and additional monies that we're going to have to maintain this beaches and parks, I say we keep the rate right now the same and go from there.
There will be additional staff. There will be additional staff that we are going to be using at the beaches for sanitization of the bathrooms and also at the parks, because if you read the guidelines, we've transferred the entire recreation staff at this point temporarily over to the park side to do those functions. So monitor the bathrooms. We've got special spray and things that we bought here that's a spray on that they can go in and spray the bathrooms occasionally down the surface. I talked to Chris from the Board of Health about it. The same thing with at the Pontigansett or at Jones, where you see the picnic tables. Same thing between uses, those have to be sprayed down. So that staff's gonna be utilized in that manner. So yes, they will be there. The town also has, and Greg's here, but I mean, I'm gonna speak for him for a minute. And the fact is that the town has, accounts set up to handle COVID, and they hopefully, Greg's working on hopefully getting a reimbursement for a lot of these costs. So if that's the case, hopefully those extra costs can be covered through that process. If that kind of gives you any type of what I'm thinking, if that kind of gives you the background of kind of how I'm thinking we're going to handle it.
Tim,
Yes.
Tim, are we gonna, I would like to see at least posted prior to a person buying a sticker that it's gonna be at a reduced capacity, so they know that ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
we
after
did
they
set
buy,
up
I don't want after they buy the sticker,
Right.
hand them the paper, telling them that.
Right. Yeah, so at the trail, we did set up the trailer out front here yesterday to see if it would fit. And the door, on the inside of the door, there will be a sign hanging on the inside of the door with not the whole thing you just approved, but where is my sheet right here? It will be our COVID-19 phase 1 opening. It will have the lifeguard hours, staff lifeguard hours at the beaches, and it will have the parking, about the reduced parking on it.
That's
So
what I'm most
they'll
concerned
be
about.
aware of all that on the, they read the sign.
Okay.
They'll be aware of that there, and then they'll also get the handout when they buy the sticker of the additional.
All right, do we need a motion to, do we need a
On that-
motion?
Yeah, on that thing though, I think it should say someplace that we expect that the beach, especially at Round Hill, will have weekends where we will be turning away people somehow. Just 50%, I'm not sure they're gonna get the point that they're gonna get turned away. Because I think before you, Timmy, you just used to let them drive down there, and if they couldn't find a spot, they could
Yeah.
leave.
Should it be first, should we put on there first come, first serve or something?
Because as long as they know they may be turned away, because they're spending $35, and we may, I don't want them to be pissed at the poor kid at the top of the gate that they're turning them away.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue too we're gonna talk about, but the kids at the top.
I mean,
Right.
I think we put it on Dartmouth.
Dartmouth helping Dartmouth. Should be
Yeah.
posted somewhere when you're full, so they can check before they go down. If we can do that, that might really help.
And we got DCTV that can do they've been doing the COVID-19 updates. We can put this out there and splash it out on YouTube or whatever media outlets that they have. Once they put it up, a lot of people grab that and push it. I think once they know, we've got the Round Hill group, we'll push it out to them. I think that once it's out there, people will understand. We're gonna have cranky people occasionally because that's the way it is. And I'm okay with it because that's the
As
way
long
it
as they
is.
know when they bought their ticket, they may be turned away.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
we're not gonna let the people go down. I mean, what we'll do is we're gonna count the cards. So once they hit 200, they're gonna stop, and they'll be.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. We're
We're
gonna turn them away, which is
Very
gonna be
cocky.
down to.
Can you just put
Yeah.
get a sign that says full, like they do in the parking lots? Like when
Oh,
you
we
go-
have that sign. Yeah, we have that sign there too. We'll be doing that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have that sign.
It's full, so like the parking garages, so you'll know.
Listen, they can go to Pontiac or Jones if they want to go in the water. The water's the same.
No, but at least if they know that before they buy their sticker, that, you can always tell them, you knew when you bought your sticker, we were going to be limited cars, so,
Yeah.
not that that's going to shut them up, but at least it's a little something that we forewarn them that they may not be able to get to Round Hill. Like Joe says, you have Jones Park and Pontiac, even though people tend to not use that as much for some reason. All right, Tim, let's move on. We don't need a motion.
I'm gonna need a vote. I just don't know if
For the stickers?
Greg.
Is that what we paid last year?
Well, I know. I still want you to
All
vote
right.
it though.
Motion.
Motion.
I second the motion.
Motion's made and seconded. Sherry? Sherry? You're muted.
She said aye.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Oh, okay. Joan?
Yes, in favor.
Joe?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And I'm in favor, so it'll be unanimous. Okay, Tim?
So seasonal renters, you didn't take a vote on that. Seasonal renters, I need a vote on that one too.
Joe, you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion not to allow seasonal renters at this time, and it will be revisited during our phase 2.
Do I have a second on that?
I second it.
Any other discussion on that? Joan,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and I'm also in favor.
What about, do you want to try to put any limitations on how many per household due to the, we think we can do it. It's a lot more work. But Becky thinks she can look it up in the computer to see how many are per household. I don't know if that's something you want to consider or not.
That sounds like a good discussion. If we limit one sticker per household during the phase 1 opening, that will help limit at the beach. They can all get in one car. We don't need 3 cars going to the beach or 2 cars going to the beach. So that's something to think about. And again, if we expand and we start opening up the parking to maybe, for argument's sake, 3/4, then we can put people out there who in the past, give them out that the second sticker will be available at this time.
I don't know about one sticker per household. That, if someone gets out of work and goes to the beach and then their husband or spouse or whatever gets out later on and wants to meet them there, I don't know. I mean, I would limit it to 2 personally instead of some people have 3 and more. But it's just my opinion. Anybody?
I think you heard yourself. You have a lot of cars with just 1 people.
I'm sorry?
I think it's tough if you get a lot of people showing up with 1 person in the car, because that kind of.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're trying to stop. I mean, we're trying to get as many of our residents in there as possible.
Right.
And there's no reason that a family with 2 people have 2 cars down there, quite honestly. I mean, it's selfish. I understand. We all have stories. We all have issues. I get it. And in a perfect world, we wouldn't even be discussing this. But in order to get as many cars down there of our residents first, I would want to limit the stickers right now. Again, during phase 1, we give out 1. If things change down the road, then we can give the option of saying, yeah, we're going to free it up and you can come down and get a second sticker for your car if you want. But this way here, it's going to give more households the opportunity to at least get down there as a family unit, which is what we want.
Joan?
That's a good idea. I agree. I think 1 per should start off. And, it's an evolving thing. So as things improve, you don't have to wait for phase 2 if you see that sticker sales are down and it's working.
Mm-hmm. Want to make a motion, Joe?
I will make a motion that during phase 1 operations of our parks and beaches, that we limit 1 sticker per household during phase 1.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Joan?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
All right, so voted. Go ahead, Tim.
So,
Discuss the,
yeah, so now that you've pretty much decided how we'll sell stickers, what the price will be for the stickers, the bigger question is, and I think we've pretty much got the physical maintenance of the facilities and operation of the facilities in check as far as Parks and Rec and what our staff will be doing. The big remaining question is here, as far as it is the biggest question, is security for our staff at these beaches during this time when we know there's going to be a lot of agitated, angry people that we'll be dealing with. And we're going to be dealing with it with 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids, and how to protect them. I've sent you emails, several emails today. I've sent you the governor's, the email, the letter the governor sent out to DCR as far as how he's going to handle it at the state beaches and how that enforcement action for social distancing and so forth is being handled by the state police, by the by municipal police, with assistance from DCR. In our case, my #1 priority, while social distancing and that enforcement is important to prevent the spread of the virus, our #1 concern is the safety of the staff and the kids that are working at the beaches. From our experience, we know it can get very, very ugly with parking or lack of parking at our beaches. I kind of reminisce back to when the non-smoking rule got put into place in the town of Dartmouth, and folks would be at the beach and they weren't allowed to smoke. And I'm associating this a bit with that, because the same type of complaints would come about one person trying to get into it with another person in that complaint. I certainly know the issue at the gates with how the people act to the kids at the gate, which is why we started having police officers there on July 4th. I know how nasty that can be. Any of us that have been up there knows how nasty that is. You get threatened, you get sworn at, yelled at, you get almost, in my case, run over. So I think paramount is the fact, if we're going to operate these beaches and we're going to sell stickers and operate the beaches, we better make sure that whatever, at any cost, these kids are kept safe and secure and protected. So
Absolutely.
Yep. So I think we're talking that we need at least to have a police detail there every day.
yeah, so I did have a conference call with the chief of police yesterday, as well as the town administrator, director of Board of Health, and I think town council, and I believe Greg was there, regarding this. And I didn't feel comfortable with the direction that call went in regarding how we would handle this. I basically did, as Jim just mentioned, that we should have a detail officer at that gate every single day when those kids are up there, and we should have a detail officer handling the other two beaches, swinging through the other two beaches, however they want to do it, back and forth. Because you got to remember that those other beaches will be busier than usual, because we're going to be kicking half the people, or not allowing half the people into Round Hill. So that overflow is going to head right down the road to Pontiac, and then from there it's going to head to Jones. So you can't take an average year. We can't compare those parks and beaches to average years, because we're going to be spiking at those locations due to the fact that we're only at half capacity at Round Hill. So those kids need to be protected as well. So that's kind of where we are. I sent you an email that Mr. McGinnis sent back to me this afternoon, and I responded back to him again. I don't see any way to safely operate these beaches without a police detail there protecting the staff.
Joe?
During that call here, he saw me on the phone. That was happened to be the chief of police, and we had a brief discussion on this, and he has his concerns, as was that meeting and the email. I explained to him that in the past, and I have been there on and off duty, so I have to put that disclaimer out there. I do work for the police department. That the detail or the officer assigned there predominantly would be at the top of the gate. There's very little interaction with beachgoers or staff on the beach, unless a staff person is asking a resident or someone there at the beach to leave. When the staff person, whoever he or she may be, triggers the point that this person has to leave and they refuse to leave, now it becomes a trespassing issue and a police matter. All of the day-to-day operations of the beaches and parks are still going to be handled by the staff people, but the officer at the gate is there to head off any situation that's going to happen, such as when the parking lot's full, the young lady or young man at the gate will tell the person that it's full, and if they start giving them a hard time, then the officer will intervene to just reinforce the fact that the gates are closed. And I think that's what's happened in the past. I've done it myself. I've been there myself. I've been there for people who've crashed the gate and gone down there, after being told not to. So that was the concern of the chief. He didn't want us to get into the social distancing police, which is more of a Board of Health function. And I think that's where the concern came in. And that's been across the board throughout the town. So he understands what we were asking the detail officer to do now. So when this meeting is done, I can speak to him again and just clarify it with him. So.
Well, I agree with everything except for the part that if people are having a problem at the beach, not social distancing, and they're complaining to the lifeguards or arguing with our staff, the police officer needs to get involved. Our kids are not gonna be in the middle of this. And that's my concern.
The police department, even with the bylaws, are not social distancing police. That is the Board of Health.
Well,
If there's an issue, we can reach out to the Board of Health and have an agent go down there and handle that. But the Board of Health is the one that controls the social distancing guidelines. Now, if our staff person says to that person on the beach, you got to move, and that person refuses to move and becomes belligerent and refuses a request from the person who's in charge of that beach, the head lifeguard, and that person crosses the boundary, then the police will get involved to remove him, Jimmy. It's the mere fact that our residents complain, it doesn't make a difference.
I don't agree. I feel that that's not our staff's job to be out there telling people to move. If the Board of Health and you say it's up to them, then let them come down, bring some staff down there. I don't think our lifeguards or our staff should be telling people they have to move. It's not part of our what we do at the beach. This is something that the Board of Health wants, the governor wants, that they're going to figure out how they're going to police it. And it shouldn't fall on the shoulders of the park board or any of our staff. It should. That's, in my opinion, if the police don't want to be bothered with it, well, we have a real problem. Because I have a problem with, we have a governor that's made this thing about social distancing, and when you go to the police, they don't want to be bothered with it. So, I mean, I don't know where we're going with that. Either we don't do it, or
there's no violation of the law.
Then we should, the governor shouldn't have came out and said anything about it.
Well, I think if you look,
why are we closing baseball fields and all these other things?
if you look at the new COVID orders, I don't know if you saw that in the bottom, it talks about how the Massachusetts Environmental Police, State Police, and Department of Conservation and Recreation shall enforce the order, and if necessary, may do so with the assistance of the municipal police. So it talks about that in the order of
Board of Health on there too, right? Should say Board of Health on there too.
Yeah, it says, it doesn't say that in that section right there. That's what it says in the last paragraph of what was sent out to us. That it says that they would.
That's just, that's the state beaches, so.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with town beaches. If you look at the COVID-19 Board of Health memos that they've sent out, it's Board of Health, and actually all the guidelines refer directly to the Board of Health is in control of this for the social distancing. There's no violation of the law unless the person in charge of the facility says that that's a requirement and a prerequisite, and this person refuses to comply, now it becomes a trespassing issue. That's when the police department get involved, when it actually becomes.
That's fine with me, Joe. Then as long as the Board of Health is going to come down there and do it. Yeah. I am totally against our staff doing it.
The only staff we have down there is lifeguards, and we're short lifeguards to begin with.
Exactly.
So the lifeguards cannot be enforcing the social distancing because you're going to take a short number of lifeguards from watching the water now to messing with how people are sitting on the beach. We can't do it.
Correct.
That's correct.
So we have a real problem. If the police won't do it, and our lifeguards won't do it, the Board of Health doesn't want to do it.
When someone from staff says that the person is not obeying the rules. That's what's going to happen. That happens at Walmart. It happens at Lowe's. If we get called there because people are not wearing masks, we cannot throw people out of stores because they're not wearing masks. If the person in charge of the facility says this person is not abiding by our rules, we want them removed, then we will tell them to leave. That's what has to happen. The same thing, it's no different than it's at the beach right now. We can't go down and just throw people off the beach unless.
Well, what I want to know, Joe, is who's going to tell them? Because the lifeguards aren't going to tell them. We can't tell the lifeguards to be doing that. We don't have enough lifeguards.
No, the lifeguards are supposed to watch the water.
Who are we supposed to be? Who's going to do that?
Listen, there are rules. They're all big boys and girls when they go down there. They know what the rules are. If they choose not to participate by the rules, I mean, if we get a complaint, whoever's complaining.
Yeah, well, who's going to make the complaints? You're going to tell the. It's going to have to be like they're going to have to call Lancaster, and Lancaster's going to complain to you?
No, if there's a complaint about social distancing, then there should be the hotline for the Board of Health. They can call the Board of Health to complain.
All right, so we just need that number because that's the number they're going to have to call.
I mean, that's all I can see. If we're telling us our lifeguards aren't going to be doing social distancing and it's up to the individuals, then leave the
Our
number
lifeguards
down there.
can't. Our lifeguards can't watch the beach shorthanded and do social distancing.
Correct.
It's not, it can't happen.
And I agree with you.
Is,
okay.
are we bringing in some of the other staff? Is that, I thought we talked about doing that, no?
We did, yeah, for primarily the bathroom areas.
Right.
And the second up at the gate, we're gonna need another person up at the gate to count the cars exiting, so we know who to let in.
I mean, if we're saying that someone comes to the lifeguard and complains, the lifeguard can pick up the phone and call the police officer that's up next to the stand or wherever, up near the guard shack, whatever, and come down, and that police officer wants to come down and handle it, I don't have a problem with that. But if you're telling me the lifeguard is gonna get off his stand and go over to the blanket and ask people to move over, I am totally against that.
Unless there's a person who's in charge of the facility says that they want that person removed, the police officer's not going to remove them. That's what that's
The person in charge of the facility is probably Lancaster.
Right.
No,
So
whoever
Timmy's
the
gonna
Can't
be
stick
there.
Lancaster down there all day.
Are you
Whoever
gonna put
person is
some,
there,
maybe we do need to look at putting somebody down there to look for a COVID person, and maybe we can get some money reimbursed for putting somebody down there. I mean, you can't, like, what are you supposed to do? It's a different situation. We're not used to this situation. How are we gonna make it work? It's really not, I don't think it is just the policeman's responsibility to make sure social distancing is happening.
Well, maybe it's the Board of Health's responsibility then.
In that email that Sean sent back to me, he did mention putting the sign down there with the phone number.
Yeah,
But-
listen, you're going to have to do that. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I would, at the end of the day, the cop's not going to violate somebody's rights, going to go down. It's just not going to happen. If somebody, and I had a problem with a beachgoer several years ago, and the head lifeguard called, went down there, I spoke to the head lifeguard, and he said, person X is creating a problem. I went to that person who created a problem and said, they want you off the beach, you have to leave. That's how it works. Period.
Yes,
There's
sir.
no other way to do it. Period. We just can't go down here and tell people you have to move.
Okay.
We're forgetting that these are all guidance and guidelines. It's not a law.
So then how can our lifeguards walk up to somebody and tell them that they have to move?
The lifeguards
They're
can't
not
do
gonna
it.
tell
We
them.
don't have enough people.
But if
They're
we
not gonna
did,
do
even if
that.
we did, I mean,
I don't
according to
think-
Joe,
I
the
don't think
lifeguard
it's a
can't
life-
tell them to switch over.
It's not a lifeguard's rule, but I don't think we have to pay a police officer $50 an hour either to stay down there. I think that you could have someone who maybe has, maybe it's a different person, a supervisor, a park rec supervisor who may be a little bit older, that has more of authority, that you could pay half of what you're going to pay a police officer, and then they would contact the police officer, so it's not a lifeguard.
Well, I'm confused because Joe is saying that it's not, you can't do that. It's against, people's rights and all this stuff. So then, no matter who it is, doesn't have the authority to tell them to push over.
A person in charge of the beach can ask somebody to leave. If the person
What I'm
chooses
talking
not to
about, I'm
leave,
not talking about having somebody to leave. I'm asking about going over and saying, requesting you push your blanket over 10 feet.
I don't think we should do that at all. There's guidelines.
That's what I'm saying. So we don't need to pay anybody then.
There's guidelines. If you choose not to participate in the guidelines, if somebody complains or something happens, then you call the Board of Health. Let them go down and enforce it.
That was my question.
I mean, there's two different issues there. You got the beach issue you guys are talking about now, and you still got the gate issue, which is a totally different issue.
Correct.
Right. The gate issue, we definitely did a police officer up at the gate.
And again, if there's a problem down at the beach, he's not that far away. We all know what happens all summer long with our neighbors. So, and it takes a long time. And, on weekends, I mean, it's what, Timmy, sometimes 15 minutes, 20 minutes at times.
Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm. So are we in agreement? We need a police officer at the gate. Let's start there.
Jimmy, I'm gonna have to just recuse myself from this
Yeah.
conversation on this. I can't vote either way because I
All
believe
right.
there could be a conflict.
Right. Anybody make a motion for a police officer at the gate?
I'll make a motion. I mean, I think you're gonna have problems at that gate when you start to turn people around. We have problems at that gate when we're not turning people around.
Yeah.
So I think the office is not there, but if there is a problem, like you guys just said, it took 15 minutes to get a cop down there. If we got a problem down there, that's a long time.
These things are over. Somebody has a problem at that gate, it's over in 30 seconds, no matter what the outcome is. Somebody, whether they run somebody over, get into some altercation, it's 30 seconds. Forget about 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. The cops won't be there for 15 minutes. I think you have to have a cop just sitting there. So if there is a problem, the gate guy can tell them, look, there's a problem and this guy has to leave. We'll have the signs out there that say it's full and stuff, but they can't go in.
I have a second to that.
I second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Joan? Joan?
Joan had to go back to work. She called back to work. She had to
Who
leave.
seconded it?
Terry checked it.
Gary.
Oh, so I'm sorry. Sherry?
Yep.
Jim?
Yep.
Joe's not voting. He's recused himself, but I vote yes also.
So
Joan's
okay.
not with us, right?
Joan's not with us. She left. So that's a get the gate. What about hours for that?
Hold on 1 minute, Timmy.
Yeah.
Also, I want to make sure that if we cannot get a police officer there, because any Dartmouth police officer does not want to do the detail, that we have a backup plan, whether it be a Westport cop or whatever. Because what happened at our concerts where we had details, we'd get there at night and no one took the detail and we had no one there.
I can tell you we now in town here, we have retirees who are working. So we do have a complement of people who, a couple just recently retired. So it's like they never left. That's available. And we do have mutual aid with Westport and New Bedford. So I don't suspect that it's going to be a problem getting coverage there. If
Joe,
it is,
just for my
look into it.
information, do they do that like ahead of time so they would know?
Correct. Everything will be done in advance for that.
Thank you.
As far as the hours, I don't think you need them there the whole day. I think it's more like a 9 to 3 deal. But I mean, that's up to you guys. Once you get to 3 o'clock, the beach is emptying out. So
yeah, maybe 2 o'clock.
What time is the beach open? 8?
Yeah. No, 9 to 8. It goes 9 to 8. 9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah, because I think your problem's going to be at the start when they line up and then an hour in you start to kick people out. So
Right.
I don't think you need them there after 2 or 3 o'clock because people are leaving.
Right.
The only reason I went as far as 3 o'clock is I was thinking it's possible that people knowing that we're limiting access, some might come later in the day, more so than normal. So that's why I left it at 3 to cover us.
I think I agree with Jim. You're going to have the big group is going to be waiting in the morning trying to get in before when they know there's a limited amount of stickers.
If you're gonna have 200 spots in there, I think that realistically, if you wanted to, you can go 10 to 3, Tim. The first hour, I don't think there'll be a problem, and then you can always modify it. But I mean, I think if you take a look at it, unless you want somebody there first thing.
I would say we started 9. We started as 9 to 3s, and if I find we don't need it, we cut it back to 10. But I mean, the problem is they're going to be lining up there at 8 o'clock, waiting. And I mean, if it's like July 4th, I mean, when I helped the girls scan in and we're both scanning, I mean, we easily put 100 cars in there in the first. I mean, probably more than 100 cars in the first hour.
Maybe on a Saturday and Sunday, we want to make sure we get someone there by 9 o'clock. But during the week, we may be able to cut it back.
Yeah. Could do that too. Weekdays 10 to 3, weekends 9 to 3.
Okay. So then we're in agreement that as far as the beach goes, if there's a problem, we're going to call the Board of Health.
For social distancing, that's the
It's going to be their problem, correct?
Yeah, and I think that Timmy said something about posting the number up front. I don't think the lifeguard should be calling the Board of Health and wasting time on the phone for the Board of Health. Especially because on the weekend, the Board of Health's not answering.
That's right.
Yeah,
And the weekends are when we're going to have the problems.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be calling a number that's going to go to an answering machine.
Right. How about giving them Greg's number?
I got Greg's cell phone. I give him that.
I think that's something, Timmy, you may want to talk to Chris eventually on once this happens, but I think, again, the way the guidelines are written, it's definitely there.
You just have to see where it goes and what it's gonna,
Yep.
what it looks like until
What
it
do you want
happens.
to do with the other two places?
What do you mean?
Do you need anybody at the other two places?
If you could have a floater to
Yeah.
handle the two beaches and parks and trails, because we keep on forgetting about that. But if we're not going to allow any field play, we have bathrooms up there. We have other situations up there. You know, at least you'll have a mobile person that's going to be at your beck and call that you can shoot back and forth from Jones Beach to Apponeganset. As long as the bridge is working, it's not that bad of a run.
Yeah.
If something comes up.
Right, because I agree with Tim. Now that we close, we're going to have a lot less people at Round Hill. They're going to look for an alternative.
Yeah.
I don't know if you try to, I mean, can you put somebody there, like a maintenance person or somebody that's just checking instead of putting a police officer at all these different places, like a floater? Can't you have, someone that you're not paying all that money to? And then you can call the police officer if you need them.
So it's only going to be an issue when you have to shut down the parking lots.
Right. I think we can kind of, maybe Apponeganset and Jones, we wait and see if we're going to have that type of overflow there. I know Jones is very, very slow during the week.
Jones actually doesn't fire up until the afternoon usually anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Apponeganset's the one I'd probably worry about. There's still going to be a lot going on there, especially if the bucket's open.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just need to know. I mean, you guys need to tell me what you want to do.
Well,
I would go with the floater for now until, if we end up not needing it, we can always cancel it out. But for the start, I would see how it goes.
Is that a motion?
That was a suggestion. I mean, I have limited, on how this is going to go, but I'd hate to see something go wrong and we not have anything in place to start. So.
I know, Sherry, you keep on talking about the money thing, but there is federal money available for security and such that through FEMA, may not be the entire amount, but it's going to be a lot of it now because the feds understood that there's going to be a lot of changes in how things operate for security and other equipment and actually a bunch of things. So they did put money in through FEMA as through a grant to offset these costs, and not just for beaches and stuff, it's the town in general. Any cost that comes up that wasn't appropriated, and this is not appropriated, so this would be something that, as a direct result.
Then let's do it. If the money's not an issue, then.
Greg's looking not too happy.
Money's not an issue. I don't want to get Greg.
Greg, is that true?
But I'm saying that there is money there. For that, it does meet some of the guidelines for that. So I'm not going to talk about the money. That's Greg's deal. That's why he's sitting here.
Greg, well, you want to
We're seeking reimbursement, so we're hoping obviously we'll get reimbursed, but until we actually apply and get approved, we're speculating. So I would be, very careful not to say the money's there without us first getting approved for that. So.
I know the FEMA grant is, you can speculate on the FEMA grant, what you're going to do, how it's going to be done, and as long as it, at least for the 3/4. I don't know about the other one we talked about earlier, about the other municipal one that you have for the 25% for the full coverage. So
I mean, we're obviously hoping we're going to get reimbursed, but we can't guarantee that. And the other issue, particularly with FEMA, who knows when we'll get the money. We have in the past, Hurricane Sandy, I think 3 years after we ended up getting it. So
we got the money 3 years after that, and the March 2nd, 3rd storm, we got that within months.
Yeah.
Actually, that money came in the same fiscal year that we expended the money. So I mean, it is a crapshoot. I agree with you.
My experience with FEMA, the bigger the storm, the more you have to wait. I've applied in the past and had to wait 2-3 years before I got the money. That's not atypical. So.
All right, so what do you want to do, guys? You want to make a motion? What do you want to do with this?
I'll make a motion. We start off with a floater going between the Pontigansett and Jones and out to the trails if needed. And then Tim can judge how bad it is. Or I know last weekend it was fairly crowded at a Pontigansett, and this is very early in the season.
You wouldn't need that one till like 10 o'clock probably.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's more in case you do have problems at Jones or a Pontigansett that there's someone there. Not so much a Pontigansett, but Jones.
I don't think we set a time on the motion, whoever makes it, just my 2 cents. I think we allow that to Tim and staff to determine, even at Round Hill, if something comes up. That way, they're on the ground. They see what's going on. They can modify it, add, delete. I mean, I think we leave that up to staff to decide the times for these, especially the floater and even Round Hill to a certain extent.
Sounds good.
Do we have a second to that?
I second it.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay, motion made and seconded. Sherry,
Yes.
Joe, are you voting on this? Or-
Same. No, I'm going to abstain again.
Jim?
Yes.
And I vote yes also.
So
Okay.
if that we can't get the police, I mean, how are we gonna work this, Joe? Are we gonna work together on getting this set up through the police department for these details, or?
Yeah, we'll offline, we'll have a discussion. I'll speak with the chief and others and figure out what the best avenue is. I'm probably going to suggest that the float have a cruiser, even Round Hill have a cruiser there as more of a visual deterrent also. So, but I will speak with the chief. Maybe next week or later on this week we'll give him a call.
And Greg, how do I pay for this?
I guess we charge it to the special revenue account and
Oh,
we'll
the account?
Yeah, the one that Donna sent out.
spend on the special revenue account. So,
Yeah, because I think there's a park section on that. I don't have that picture. I don't have that in front of me, but I believe it is one there.
There are some other things. I mean, we've charged some things to that account already. Some supplies, some disinfectant, that type of thing that we've had, the special stuff we've had to buy. We're gonna have to buy some cones and things too for the markers for the bathrooms for the social distancing. So that'll be going to that account.
yeah,
And
so
signage, all the signage.
we had, what we did, just to be clear, is we asked permission of the state to deficit spend in that account by 100,000. And we have the right to go back and change that number as we see needed. So we're currently incurring a deficit with the hope that we'll get reimbursement. If not, then we'll end up having to either raise it on next year's recap, if you know what that is, or we'll have to find the money somewhere this year. So
And
for now, we have ability to deficit spend by the state. So worst case, we can deal with it as a fiscal 21 problem, not a 20 problem.
And keep in mind, I think we're looking at, hopefully, this might only be a temporary situation. If, the first month goes by and there's no issues and, maybe we won't need the police officer at either place. After we get by July 4th weekend and, August, we may be all right. So it's kind of a cautionary thing, and we'll try it. And if there's no problems, then we can go from there. All right, Tim.
Okay, so other than the only other thing I got for COVID is, like I said, I'm gonna be buying some more supplies, some that we need to enact at the signage. I'll buy all the signage, and we'll start working on that. The cones that we need for the social distancing, we'll work on that. And I think those are the last 2 items I need to work on for COVID. So are we all set to start selling? When would you like to start selling stickers? Can I do it next week or?
Well, as long as the police are agreeing to have the police officer there, I think we can go move forward.
So do you want to make that subject to us getting these? How do you want to do that?
I think we should just start selling stickers.
Subject to the agreement of the chief of police, because right now we haven't got a firm answer from the chief saying that we're going to be able to use that detail, correct?
Yeah, no, it was the discussion was with the chief. Was I explained to him, he was under the impression it was going to be something different. I think we're going to be okay with the guidelines that we talk about and what we spoke about. That's going to be fine.
Really,
Yeah,
it's
but
not going to be any different. it's not gonna be any different than what we have those detail officers do on July 4th.
Correct. And
But I would
that's
still
what
like, I would like
explained
to,
us.
I would like him and Tim to be on the same page and, you know, once we get the, okay from him to you, then I think we can go with the stickers. If that's tomorrow, that's fine.
Yeah, it won't be. It'll probably be like shooting for like next Tuesday after
Yeah.
Memorial Day when we come back, maybe. You know what I mean? And actually, now it looks like, Greg, the town hall's not going to be opening next week anyway, so we got some time. I mean, we can start our operation outside and get this going because we're already a month behind. And the longer we wait to sell the stickers, the bigger backlog we're going to have of everybody surging up here to get them. You know, I might as well get them out as soon as I can.
Okay. Sounds good. Next item, Tim?
The update. So I guess, I'll talk to Joe about that. Joe, we'll just talk about that. We'll get that ironed out.
Yeah.
Details so we can, with the plan on getting everything to go so we can sell stickers next Tuesday morning. I think that would be the way to go. Update on project. So we finished the Russell's Mills Landing project, the town portion. Greg is here. He talked to me this morning that he's now got all his town meeting stuff accomplished that he needed to get done, and he says that's the installation bid is on the top of his plate, right, Greg?
Yep, that's what I said.
So that's, it looks pretty good at Russell's Land. If you go by there, we did a lot of work there. It came out really nice. Now we just need the playground. That's something missing. But
That's we have the playground.
would be nice. The tennis court hasn't started yet. I believe that's because of the asphalt plant over in Acushnet got shut down by the DEP. So getting hot mix is a little more difficult. I'm actually sending
It's coming out of Lunenburg.
Yeah, and I'm actually sending a truck to Rochester, to West Wareham tomorrow to get a load of hot mix for us to fix the road down at, patch the potholes down at Round Hill. Because that's a big complaint, I know, and it's really bad right now. So we're going to deal with that tomorrow now that it's dried out down there. But I think that could be why some of the asphalt projects get a little bit put behind, especially something like the tennis court where it's not a lot of mix. So they're going to, I'll touch base with them. The bandstand's still in limbo. So I met with him last week, I think, and he's still having an issue getting stone cut because the stone place is still shut down due to coronavirus. And he's also waiting for the weather to warm up. The stucco on the columns has to be above a certain temperature, and we just haven't been there yet. I think we're getting there now, though. So they're working on that. Yeah, and the doors down at Jones Park, I think I've got a plan in place to get those doors installed prior to the opening of the beach season. So I think that's gonna get done as well. So, and I mentioned the floor at the bucket, hopefully this week, which is what really is holding up Arthur
Right.
at this point. And the fact that I have to do the carpentry work because we lost all our help. So that's where we are with the projects. And that's all I have. And that's a lot. We did a lot today.
Yeah.
And unless Greg has anything has to offer additional.
I have one thing I want to talk about, but I'm not sure. This rather bigger topic about point of sale and credit cards, but maybe we'll talk about that in another time.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? If not, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
In favor, Sherry?
Sorry, you cut out.
In favor?
In favor.
Adjourn.
To adjourn.
Joe?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And I also. Unanimous. Stay
Can I
safe.
send
See
you an
everybody
email with
soon.
that?